Hey there, cat fans. Welcome to Meowster Podcast. I'm Rebecca Zish. That's Tim Black.
Hi.
Hi. How are you, Tim?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good is good.
Yeah. Our topic for today comes from an article you noticed.
I did.
From Atlas Obscura.
Yes. One of our favorites.
We love Atlas Obscura.
We do. Always lots of interesting stuff there.
The title of this particular article that you noticed, Why Did American Cats Get Blamed for So Many Divorces?
Yeah. I had no idea this had gone on.
It's an interesting but historical and sociological examination of what was a cultural phenomena dating back to like the 19 teens.
Right.
And, or actually earlier.
Yeah, around the turn of the century.
Yeah, and then they give examples that go up to the 1960s.
Right.
So there's like a 65-year period or so where across America, there were divorce cases where either the husband or the wife were citing cats in their home as the reason why this divorce must happen.
Yes. It was an interesting period in American history where not only was divorce becoming more common, it was getting easier to get a divorce, but also cats were becoming more and more popular as household pets.
Right. And so if you were to create a graph, you might imagine that the number of divorces and the number of cats in homes intersecting in this 65-year period. The reason why divorces became more common was because in the late 19th century, it became possible for women to leave a marriage with their own personal property intact. It began state by state. There was a federal act in the 1840s, but it didn't apply to everything. It didn't apply, and then some states wrote their own laws, as they do, states' rights and all that sort of thing. The most important thing is that sort of in the mid to late 19th century, it became more common for women to inherit property. And then also to be able to, if a marriage dissolved, if there was a divorce, if there was property a woman owned coming into the marriage, she could leave with it.
Right.
And prior to that, both those things were an impossibility. That women were basically seen as incapable of owning property privately, separately from their husbands.
Right.
And an unmarried woman was completely a financial non-entity as far as real estate laws were concerned and banking and commerce acts and that sort of thing.
Right.
So once women start realizing, oh, wait, like I could get out of this.
Right.
That would be great, and I won't be left destitute from it.
Exactly.
But there was no such thing as no-fault divorce. So the only way you're going to get a divorce is if there's a reason for it.
Right.
And in cases where really there wasn't any cheating, right? There's no evidence of violence.
Right.
In some states, a woman could ask for a divorce if there was proof that her husband was a drunkard. But this was... sometimes people just don't get along anymore.
Right, exactly.
But that wasn't good enough.
That's not grounds for divorce.
No court's going to take that.
No.
Like, we just don't like each other anymore. We don't want to. Well, sorry.
Tough.
Yeah, the judge would be like, you think I like my wife? I'll tell you about not liking your wife.
We're all
or
miserable.
Like that. Yeah. You're going to be miserable with the rest of us, bucko. That's how judges speak in my mind. That's how they all
bucko.
sound.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's like a 20s or 30s judge. A divorce judge.
Yeah, it's what it's actually what Richie Cunningham used to call everybody on Happy Days.
Right. Which this kind of thing was going on in Happy Days times.
Yes, that's true. So since there are more cats in homes, people like looking around for a reason. They're like,
where's a reason? I need a reason. What do we got here? What do we got?
Cats. I'll blame the cats.
Why not? It's
Seems,
worth a try.
what seems to be a line through in a lot of these stories that were presented is that it's the wife's affection for the cats,
Right.
or the wife choosing the cats over the husband.
Yes. Sort of an alienation of affections kind of thing.
Yeah, and the fact that judges went for that as a reason, not just like, we don't read the same books anymore, or we've discovered our politics are different. Like,
Right.
those aren't good reasons, but she likes the cats more than me. That's a reason? That I found funny. The whole time I was reading this, I'm going, I still don't get why that's a reason. But okay. Yeah.
It's technically, according to the letter of the law, a reason at that time, and something that...
Well, or at least a judge decided it, and then there was precedent.
Right.
And so attorneys would say, does she
according
have any cats? We could blame the cats. Yeah, and that it became such a thing that apparently there were parodies of it in newspapers.
There were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
It is, definitely.
But yeah, there was like one case where a guy cited that his wife's cat wouldn't let him sit in his favorite chair.
Yeah.
So, divorce!
Well, and there was the case where the woman was filing for divorce because she'd had enough of her husband. Like, her final straw with her husband was that he threw the family cat at her.
Right.
Right?
That was one.
Yeah. There was a horrible one where a man put the family cat in the refrigerator.
I saw that, yeah.
And the woman was like,
That cat almost froze to death.
Yeah, and the judge, see, that I get. Like,
yes.
Like, he threw the cat.
This is...
it's not safe to have this person in a house with animals.
Right.
This person is not good to animals. What might that say about how they treat children or other people?
Maybe he'll lock me in the refrigerator next time.
Yeah. Who's to say what he'll throw at me next?
Exactly.
Throw a hatchet at me.
Right. Yeah, if the cat's not available, what's it going to be?
Well, and that cat's not sticking around that guy. He's not going to make himself available anymore.
No, he is not.
Yeah. So that makes sense. But when it's just like, no, she just likes the cats more than me.
That was a popular one as well. It wasn't all violent things. It was
that's what I'm saying. But it still seems funny to me. But there's a lot of, like, there's too many cats in the house.
Right. That was one that showed up a couple of times. I'm like, my wife has 35 cats or 50 cats or something like that.
Well, there was one where the filing for divorce claimed she had 50 cats.
Yeah.
But when she testified, she's like, I only have 15 cats. Right. And that was her defense.
Yeah. I do not have 50 cats. No.
It was, I have 15 cats and 3 dogs. Right. Like, she's not going to stand up for herself. But the notion that cats are being injured themselves, or, so thrown or locked in things or not treated well, because another social event that's happening at this time is the development of associations for the prevention of cruelty to animals it's happening everywhere. All kinds of animal welfare societies are being developed.
Yeah.
It's really the first time in history you're seeing organized opportunities, not just like municipal dog catchers who like catch and destroy animals,
right.
Sadly, but the idea that, then we put them somewhere, and if you want a pet, you can come get one.
Yeah, right.
So everyone's kind of coming closer to the notion that there can be domestic pets for just affection and companionship. They don't necessarily have to have jobs, like on farms or for hunting or something.
Yeah. They're more like a part of the family.
Yeah. And so it's interesting that they claim that a lot of these stories, specifically the Los Angeles Herald, was big on reporting these stories.
Yeah.
And so you don't think of LA as being a farming community, with a lot of working mouser cats. And of course, it is, especially back then, in the early 20th century. It's orange groves, and
there is a lot of that. Sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. But they really are talking about, that we really, in these stories, They're talking about Kansas City. They're talking about LA. There's a San Francisco story.
It was all over the country, yeah.
Well, not only that, but I'm saying it's urban areas.
Yes.
So these are people taking cats into their families and into their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually reference to a lot of these, the word apartment comes up as well. So we are seeing it really is urban and suburban, not rural. Right. These aren't farming families saying, I'm divorcing you because of all those barn cats.
Right.
You know, like there have been 35 cats on a farm for centuries.
Right. This lady with 15 cats and 3 dogs, I don't know what her living situation was, but hopefully not an apartment, because that would be grounds for divorce. Do we know?
It was in New York City.
Oh, my gosh.
So
maybe.
Probably something with minimal square footage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to adhere to that rule that for every cat you should have 2 litter boxes.
Oh my goodness. So plus 1. Right. So for 15 cats, you'd have 31 litter boxes.
31 litter boxes in an apartment in New York City.
Yeah. Well, maybe he had a point.
He may have.
Yeah. I like the story that came from Milwaukee in 1947, that after 24 years of marriage.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at this one.
Yeah. The husband wanted divorce. He didn't like that the cat was allowed inside and that he was destroying furniture. But his biggest problem was that she was spending so much time at home with the cats, and he wanted her to go out with him to more, quote, amusements.
Amusements. What is that? Go down to the Nickelodeon and watch?
Well, 1947.
Maybe not.
No. I'm just thinking like the pictures, going to the pictures.
Sure. Dancing. Let's go out dancing.
Maybe just the bar.
Sure.
Going to the saloon.
Ladies are allowed in there, accompanied by a man.
Maybe.
Days.
Maybe he was like in the Elks or the Shriners.
Oh,
and he
sure.
wanted to go to club events.
Right. Yeah. They had a special banquet.
Yeah.
And
she didn't go.
She didn't go to the annual banquet.
And it was very amusing, and she missed it. Maybe he liked stand-up comics.
Oh, wow.
Liked amusing things. I don't know. I feel like that is attorney speak for something otherwise unmentionable.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's a catch-all phrase.
I don't know. It really makes me wonder.
There was a group of news blurbs from California's Lompoc Journal in 1913.
Okay.
And there was a small headline that declared that one man drew the line at cats, with regard to his marriage and
like
whatnot.
A line in the sand?
Yeah. And but
line in the litter box sand.
It listed.
See where I'm going?
Yeah. It listed in this group of news blurbs to the list of divorces for seemingly trivial causes, such as cruelty in not taking me out riding, cruelty in requiring me to sew on buttons, etc., had now been added. A divorce granted to a man who charged his wife with cruelty in keeping cats in the house.
That's it.
That's it. Cruelty for keeping cats in the house. And thereby preventing him from occupying his favorite chair. This is the one that I mentioned before. Yeah. When the judge inquired, why didn't you put the cats out of the house? The man answered, my wife is a member of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I was afraid she would have me arrested.
There you go.
There you go.
Because he was going to put them outside?
Yes.
Well, we all know it's not safe for cats outside some places.
Not a house cat. Not an indoor cat.
Yeah. It's not true everywhere.
Not true everywhere. And the idea of an indoor cat in 1913 was a brand new concept.
Yeah, and we're talking And we're talking about urban environments.
Right.
We're talking about it's not safe.
No.
This is before seatbelts. Lots of things aren't safe back then.
They used to put radioactive face cream on their face, right? Wasn't that a thing? Because it would like smooth out your skin and stuff. It was like
people still put botulism in their face.
They do put botulism in, but like radioactive elements were very popular in the day.
Yes.
And people would drink like irradiated water and stuff because it was healthy for you.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
healthy
and then
for you.
And then your jaw would fall off.
Whoa!
What happened?
Oh my.
I've been drinking this radioactive water every day.
In comparison,
just like what my doctor told me to do.
In comparison, keeping cats in the house is not so dangerous.
No, it's not.
But no, I mean, it was much more common for people to put the cat out.
Yes, it
right?
was.
You put the cat out at night. I mean, it happens on the Flintstones.
It does, yeah. Any old TV show or movie, at nighttime, it's like put the cat out. Yeah, that's what you do. You put the cat out.
Closing credits on the Flintstones when they put the saber-toothed tiger out the door. Yes. Now, have you put the cat out?
You put the cat out. You put on your sleeping cap and you go to bed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You shuffle out in your slippers and your house coat and put the cat out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
No.
And so I guess, for some people adjusting to the idea that
we keep this cat inside now.
Cat stay, and not just one.
Yes.
Many.
Right.
In some cases. And yeah, I can certainly see people having difficulty adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it grounds for divorce?
There's other problems there.
And I think
the cat is a scapegoat.
Yeah, exactly. And there's actually an expression in this article from Atlas Obscura where it says cats are furry scapegoats.
Yes. It is indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, it really is just people looking for a reason, something they can take to a judge.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating that it came up over and over again. The more precedents it set,
right,
the more attorneys were just saying like, well, are there cats?
Right.
Because I think I can get you a divorce if there are cats.
Right. Then eventually, of course, no fault divorce came along.
Right. And now you don't
now this doesn't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to come up with anybody.
Crazy excuses. It's just like, we want a divorce.
Yeah. However, this still goes on. So I found an article from 2012.
Okay.
An Israeli man divorced his wife because she had 550 cats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if you follow the rule that you need 2 litter boxes for each cat, plus one, you got 1,001 litter boxes.
1,101.
1,101.
Yeah, 1,101.
Oh, 550.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking 500. I rounded down. I didn't allow for enough litter boxes for all those cats.
That was the problem. That's why it wasn't going well. Yeah, he claimed that the hundreds of kitties hindered his home life at every turn. They blocked the entrance to the bathroom, swarmed the kitchen, and stalked him at mealtime by stealing his food off the table. And though the couple reportedly gave reconciliation a shot at the behest of the rabbinical court, the wife ultimately chose the cats over her husband, and the pair decided to go their separate ways.
There you go.
Yeah, so this was in Israel in 2012 that this happened. So that's very recently. Although that is an extreme case. But when I read the thing about the cats stalking him at mealtime, that happens. I've got 2 cats.
Sure.
And that happens.
Uh-huh.
I ignore them, and eventually they go, oh, that's right. She doesn't give us food off her plate.
Yeah.
And then they either lay down and take a nap or they go to another room.
Sure.
But with 550, how long would you have to wait them out?
They would start to organize.
Wow.
I don't think you could win that battle.
Yeah, they organize, and you can't cross that picket line.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, sir.
So in this discussion, though, this topic, I went looking for stuff that was happening more recently. And mostly what people are talking about now, what happens in divorce is there's a lot of discussion about custody battles for pets.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, just in March of this year, very interesting article written New York Times discussing this, and that there are a lot of American state legislatures that are working to pass laws so that in divorce court, they can make good decisions on behalf of the animals involved. in the families. This started about 15 years ago. You started seeing a trend toward divorce decisions, including shared custody, visitation, and even alimony payments.
Wow. Okay.
To both.
Right.
And Alaska is the first American state. They actually have official pet custody legislation. Several other states have it in the works. It's gone up. It hasn't quite made it. They're rewriting.
Right.
Specifically Rhode Island. At the time of this article in March of this year, it looked like Rhode Island was going to be the next state to enact this kind of legislation.
The biggest state and the smallest state.
Alaska and Rhode Island. Oh, how interesting. Wow. The Alaskan pet custody legislation allows a court to consider the animal's well-being in making divorce decisions. And it defines animals as, quote, vertebrate living creature, not a human being.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you can't bring your invertebrate in. You can't say my earthworm. I want custody of my earthworm. But it could include your gray African parrot.
Sure,
it could include your desert tortoise, and I should hope it would.
I would hope so.
Yeah, since they can live to be over 100 years old, and someone needs to be taking care of them.
They're gonna outlive you, mister.
Yeah, they say that the law in Alaska was intended to reduce conflicts in divorce, but the side effect is that it's drawn greater attention to the idea of pet custody in general. And so even in states where there isn't official legislation, but judges still can decree what they deem appropriate. You don't need to have an official state law that states that this is what an animal is, and you can determine animal custody and divorce hearing. I mean, a judge can do whatever they want, and the attorney can bring whatever they want, to the potential decision. But because of the Alaskan law and because of the potential Rhode Island law and other states that it's gone where the legislation is working on stuff, right? Yeah, it's drawn attention to this idea. And so now more people are making it part of their divorce decisions.
Okay,
In fact, since 2009, there's been an almost 30% increase in pet custody cases, either as part of overall divorce hearings or as separate legal cases, separate from divorces.
Yeah. Because I can see, even if they're not married, like a live-in boyfriend, girlfriend breaking up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
I've
really gotten close to our dog, so I'm going to,
I'm going to take the dog. I don't care what you say.
Right.
Yeah. So since 2009, there's been an almost 30% increase in just these things being brought to a judge. And there's been a 20% increase in cases where judges have deemed pets an asset in the divorce. So not just discuss whether the issue of custody has been discussed or not, that the judge is making the decision where the pets will go. That it's not even a decision being made privately by people anymore. That it's being brought to the judge.
And the judge is going to decide.
We can't decide. And then the judge is having to make a decision based on the animal's welfare. Now, part of what's really interesting about this, I started reading a ton about this, but legally what's really interesting about it is that it's a shift in how animals are seen in the legal system. So they've been seen historically as personal property. As something to be owned. By shifting the focus to the idea of custody, you're agreeing legally that an animal or pet is not a piece of property. That it is a vertebrate non-human. Yeah, exactly. Whose feelings are important. Whose emotional well-being can be affected by the stress of a divorce. Whose emotional and physical well-being can be affected by the human that is made its guardian.
Wow.
So instead of just saying you paid $10,000 for this Pomeranian, that's of important dog breed blood or something. And that's worth that, and your car is worth this. Which is how, according to what I've been reading, is how it's really been done in the past. And if you didn't want it done that way, you better decide who gets the dog outside of outside of the court. Otherwise, the judge is
It's
just
gonna
going to
make
put a
this
value on
right
it.
down the middle.
Yeah. We're going to put a dollar value on this. And instead, the movement is to not put a dollar value on pets, but instead to legitimize their membership in the family
Mm-hmm.
and determine the healthiest place for them to go.
Okay.
So, and also there's been an uptick in this cases of older couples getting divorced and couples with no children.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously this is either empty nesting syndrome, like where the animals are really being given, additional fortitude in their family position, right?
Yeah.
Or where there were never any children and these are the children.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that all makes sense when you start to work it out.
Absolutely.
But to really think about legally what that means, to go from, if as a nation, we are legally considering pets not as property, right?
Yeah.
It's not okay, you've got a boat and a greyhound and a
right.
not a bus. I mean,
Yeah,
but instead really considering their emotional and physical welfare.
Yeah.
And where the best place is that they should be. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And I guess part of this is there are enough cases that judges have become more and more aware that they need to step in and help make choices regarding the welfare of the animals, because the decision in a divorce or a separation or whoever's arguing over, who gets Fluffy, right? Who gets Kitty, right? Still probably the most popular cat name,
right?
Is that the other party may feel a need for retribution, and that can be dangerous,
right?
Or if a decision is made based on a dollar value, you may be handing over an animal to a person who will purposely abuse, injure, or worse,
right? And
in order just to hurt the other, I got Fido, and I know you, so yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly, but apparently there's enough evidence that happens, that more and more divorce attorneys or attorneys being hired by couples that weren't married, right? Or same-sex couples, right? Are saying, no, we need to discuss this specifically and we need a legal decision made about the custody and care of the animal, because otherwise we've got some dark leaning person involved in this situation who may do something dangerous and harmful.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess, there's reason to believe that does happen.
Yeah.
And you can
absolutely see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I remember.
People get vicious.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Divorce isn't a pretty thing.
Yeah. But it always, the idea that an animal is legally, technically considered a piece of personal property has never sat right with me. When I first learned of this when I was a kid and I heard it somewhere, like in school or something that was talked about, like, that can't be right. They're not just a piece of it just, common sense tells you something different, but legally it's always been this other way.
Yeah, and that's what's happening is legally it is not. That if states continue to pass these laws, in every state that you pass a law like this,
you're making it easier for the next state and the next state.
But you're also you're changing the definition.
Yes, yeah. So so the whole way that they think of animals is being rethought.
And so while judges have been making these custody decisions based on welfare, because a custody decision is based on welfare. So if you're just looking at the animals as property, it's just part of dividing up the property. But if you're actually asking a judge to make a custody decision or a welfare decision, then individually that judge is helping to change the definition in the law. But now we're seeing state by state laws. So that's
moving in the right direction.
In the right direction. But there's some interesting stuff going on. So apparently the most infamous case so far was a case in San Diego in the year 2000. It really caught people's attention. There was a contentious divorce between Dr. Stanley and Linda Perkins over their pointer greyhound mix named Gigi. Okay. they were granted joint custody of Gigi
Okay.
in the divorce by the judge. They were not satisfied with that. They had both wanted sole custody, so weren't going to stand for this.
Okay.
So they went back to court for 2 years, running up over $150,000 in legal fees.
Wow.
Yeah, they got animal behaviorists involved.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was.
Meanwhile,
there was expert testimony about Gigi's welfare.
Meanwhile, running up 2 years on the dog's clock.
Yeah.
So 2 fewer years that whoever wins is going to have to spend with Gigi.
Yes, and it was actually Ms. Perkins who was ultimately awarded sole custody.
Okay.
And apparently it was because the judge finally ordered, this is a direct quote, the judge ordered a bonding study.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So so they had animal behaviorists, they had videotape taken, it was analyzed, it was presented in court as evidence.
See how Gigi behaved around each person. I see.
It's and the judge called it a bonding study, which I guess is a phrase that has been used since then.
Okay. I can see how, I mean, I see how that would have set a precedent for these kind of I'm sure these kind of arguments come up all the time.
Yeah. I have a friend, close personal friend. Who has another close personal friend. Okay. So this is a friend of a friend story.
Okay.
But this is true. I don't know the dollar amount. But this friend of a friend was in a long-term cohabitation relationship without marriage.
Okay.
And when they split up, they both spent tens of thousands of dollars fighting for custody of their dog.
Wow.
She ultimately, the friend of a friend, has her dog.
Okay.
But it cost her
a lot of money.
And according to the stories that I've been told, her former partner didn't actually want the dog.
Oh.
But purposely
tied up the courts and just to make her miserable and cost her a lot of money.
Just to be vicious.
Just to be evil.
Yeah. I do wonder, though, how is joint custody supposed to work?
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to imagine how it really works with children, but at least with children, they can speak up for themselves and, they can say, and at a certain point, they are old enough to testify in court.
Yes.
And a child can, I believe in Nevada, you have to be 14 to testify in your own behalf in a custody hearing.
Yeah.
I think that's right. But, a cat could be 14. They still can't take the stand. Right? So.
Cat's just going to rub on the microphone.
Yeah. Harriet, just purr.
Just rubbing.
Mr. Whiskers, could you tell me, let's see, according to my notes here, Mr. Whiskers, you have provided testimony. Wait, if you just give me a moment, it's in my notes here somewhere. This is what I think. This is what I think attorneys do. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Whiskers would be laying on the notes.
Yeah. Mr. Whiskers, if you could move, if you could just slide over, I could get. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't work. But but a kid can, could be stuck in some joint custody thing, and they get to be old enough, and they can ask.
Right.
They can say, I want to revisit this. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'd like to just, dogs and cats can't do that.
Just indefinitely.
And most dogs at least like to ride in cars.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Or you could do visitation at dog parks, maybe. Or like the dog park's the place where you switch custody.
Right.
That could work. Cats.
No.
Not so much.
Especially if you're like every weekend you're dropping off. What if there are 2 cats and would you keep one and give the other one and then you trade? Or do the cats need to be together? This is a very complicated situation.
It is.
This is not something that they thought about back around the turn of the century when the husband threw the cat at his wife.
Well, I read another article online from 2014 titled "Who Gets Custody of the Cat in a Divorce?" And it was a short article, but there were tons of comments on it. People who go in and those notions you just brought up were all things people talked about. This one woman, she said that her husband had been abusive and he was also abusive to their animals. They got a divorce, they got him out, and she obviously kept all their cats, right?
Yeah.
But he got a cat when he was out on his own, and they had shared custody of their kids. And the kids were worried about his new cat's welfare. And so she, the ex-wife, took in the cat he'd adopted, took on another cat.
Oh, wow.
Who, by the time she got him, said was having allergic reactions to fleas.
Oh, boy.
And had been being fed a food she was allergic to.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So it was almost, so that story was so interesting to me. Like, that could be used as evidence for he shouldn't even have joint custody of these children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Wow. That's fascinating.
A lot of people posted in here that they went through divorces or separated with boyfriends or girlfriends and were able to like split up the pets based on like come to a rational decision about which pets were more bonded with each of them.
Okay.
And while it's sad to say goodbye, that they've been able to make those choices, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
One woman in here was super sad. She said that she had actually joked with her husband before they were even married. They adopted a cat together before they were even married.
Yeah.
And she had said like, well, if we ever get divorced, I'm keeping this cat, right? And then they got married and then they got divorced. And he said, you know, I know you were joking back then, but I know you meant it and it breaks my heart. But, you know, you can keep the cat.
Yeah.
But I'd like still to be able to visit her.
Yeah.
They kept that up till her job moved her away.
Oh, no.
And she's writing here, like, just saying, I feel terrible that I moved away.
Yeah.
Now, there are laws that would keep a parent from doing that.
That's true. That is true.
But she picked up and left town. And he, he no longer has visitation with his cat.
That is sad.
Yeah, I thought that was a sad story. So I think there's a lot of parallels with children. I think some people that would make them angry. They'd be like, you know, children and pets aren't the same.
Right.
But I'm not one of those people.
No, I'm not either.
Someone made a really good point in these comments on this article. He wrote that the upside to animals not being seen as just private property is now they are treated in cases of negligence by service providers and pet food companies.
Yeah.
So it's not just about a judge in a divorce or a separation acknowledging that this is a non-human vertebrate that has emotional needs and must be physically cared for. But also, that's interesting. Service providers. So like dog groomers and boarding facilities, these kinds of things. And I think you could say that we have seen an uptick in pet food companies being held responsible.
I agree.
For the quality and value of their food and whether there are recalls.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we see tons of pet food recalls.
We do.
I do not remember that from earlier in my life.
No, me neither. That never happened when I was a kid, at least not that I knew of. And who knows what my childhood cat was eating.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it.
My mom didn't buy the most fanciest food either.
Well, my mom likes to change the food she buys all the time.
Oh.
And then she wonders why the cat sometimes doesn't eat.
Keep them guessing.
They like to eat the same things.
Yeah.
That is an argument people make. They're like, oh, no, they want variety. Do they?
Do they? I don't know.
Personally, it has been my experience, and from what I know, I'll say as a behaviorist, what I know of cats and how they behave and react to things. If you give them too many food choices, there will come a time where you give them something and they say, I'm not going to eat that because I know there's something else.
Ah, yes, that's true.
Like, okay, that's in my bowl, but that cupboard you got it out of,
other stuff comes out of there.
There's other stuff in there. They can smell everything.
They can.
Yeah.
Even if it's not there, even if what was there last week that she liked.
They might still smell it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
So you find something that's nutritious and that they seem to enjoy.
Stick with it.
And just stick with it.
Yeah.
unless there's a recall.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know you brought up this Atlas Obscura article because it was interesting historically, but I think what it tells us about things currently is
exactly
where it came from.
Where it's brought us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one final story to share.
Okay.
If you're up for it.
Sure.
So, as everything in our society, it cannot avoid some sort of celebrity connection. So, in 2015, the singer Mandy Moore filed to divorce the singer Ryan Adams.
Oh dear.
I didn't even remember that Mandy Moore and Ryan Adams were married.
Oh, really?
Did you?
I have no idea.
Really? Okay.
I had no
Anyway,
idea.
So, yeah, I don't think I'd ever thought of them in the same moment. So I definitely didn't realize that they were married.
Exactly.
So there was a hiccup in their divorce.
Okay.
Things were moving along, but then he would not pay spousal support beyond merely splitting the mortgage.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I don't know who was staying in the house, but
right.
according to documents, he was making $151,000 per month.
Okay.
And she made less than a quarter of that amount. So, especially according to California law, he owes spousal support, right? But what was listed in all of this is that they had 8 pets.
Okay.
6 cats, 2 dogs.
Yeah.
That she was the sole caretaker of. She was there. She had sole custody of all 8 pets.
Right.
And he was not contributing to their care. He was not giving, not child support, but pet support.
Okay.
Right? She was asking for $37,000 a month to support her and the pets. And she actually was asking for him to take custody of 4 of the pets that she felt were actually bonded to him.
Okay.
Yeah. Or perhaps were ones he brought into the marriage.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess their divorce was swimming along until he decided, yeah, I'm not supporting my children.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Like I said.
That's essentially what is happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if he half of those animals are bonded to him, and he may, like we said, he may have brought them into the household.
Yeah, he may have. We don't know. In any case, she has all 8. She'd been caring for all 8.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he wasn't paying her alimony. He wasn't paying for their care as well. If those were children,
yeah,
he would have gotten arrested the next time he took the stage.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
If they were in Alaska.
Oh, yeah. Forget it. He can't play in Alaska.
No. Anyway.
People are getting refunds for their Ryan Adams tickets.
Right? I was looking at this, though. I mean, these numbers are so out of my ability to comprehend.
Right.
But her asking for $37,000 a month to take care of herself, a household, and 8 pets.
Yeah.
Right? When he's making $151,000, that's not even a third of what he's making.
Yeah.
And by California law, she would be entitled to half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's being more than fair.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that those seem like crazy numbers.
Right.
It's hard for anyone. I mean, God, the idea of having $37,000 a month, let alone $151,000.
Right. Well, how much is that mortgage that he had agreed to pay a portion of?
Well, 2 popular singers living in Southern California.
Yeah.
That's probably like a $5,000 a month mortgage at least.
Yeah.
Depending on how big their house was.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think about when I see numbers like that, like he makes $151,000 a month, how much of that goes to a manager, an agent, a publicist. He's a touring musician. He's got a band to pay. He's,
yeah,
he's got insurance to carry.
Yeah, these are things that people don't think about when they hear about so-and-so made $4 million to make this movie, whatever. They don't think about how much of that gets paid back out before they see any of it.
First of all, you owe 30% to the IRS.
Right. You got to pay your agent and your manager.
Well, you owe 30% to the IRS until you can get a really good accountant to do your taxes and write off everything.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, in the outset you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then you got to pay everybody else. Yeah, it's actually, it's funny it came up because it's a little hobby of mine that I like to think about. I like to think about how much people make and then how much of that they really take home.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little game I play. And it's fun. Once a year, Entertainment Weekly will publish what people's salaries are in the entertainment industry. And then I like to think about it. Like, how much does that really mean they make?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been shocked at how little some people
make
who we think of, you know, they've got like a regular gig on a TV show, but how little they actually make in comparison to what they actually have to pay to keep that job.
Yeah.
So in this case, though, $151,000 a month, no matter which way you split it, he's still doing fine.
He's doing A-okay for
and
himself.
her asking for about 20% of that money.
It's not unreasonable.
When she's owed by California law 50% of it.
Exactly.
I think she's being more than fair.
Absolutely. Do we know how that ended up?
Yes. In the end, neither one of them are paying spousal support to each other. Not that she would ever pay to him because she made so much less money than him.
Yeah.
So I do not know who ended up with which pets.
Okay.
But I do know that she did not receive any financial support for the pets.
Oh, okay.
She got to keep the house outright, but that still means she has to make that mortgage payment every month on her own.
Yeah.
Unless he paid it off for her. I don't think he did that.
I wouldn't think so.
And you may be interested to know that he was allowed to keep his entire comic book collection and his pinball machines.
Well, he got custody of what was important to him.
Right? And
Yes.
I would imagine that she probably ended up keeping all the pets.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, she got their house and a condo in Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay.
But that's a lot of mortgage payments.
That is. She should sell one or both of those.
But no monthly spousal support. She got a single cash payout from him of $425,000, which in this scheme of things is nothing.
Peanuts.
Yeah. And she immediately would have had to turn 30% of that over to the IRS.
Yeah, exactly. And how much to the lawyer?
It probably
Another 30.
just covered her attorney expenses.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes.
That is how that goes. It seems to have taken them about a year to finalize that divorce, though.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm glad that's over.
yeah.
They got that all
They
settled.
can move on with their lives. Because, you know, I worry a lot about Mandy Moore and Ryan Adams.
I worry about Mandy Moore's 4 cats.
6 cats.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know 2 of them are going to be just fine. It's just the 4 that I'm worried
It's the other 4 you're worried about. I get it. Oh, I know.
Yes.
I've met those cats. Please. In any case, I'm sure this stuff goes on all the time. That was just on a grander, you know, Hollywood scale.
Yeah.
So, let's keep an eye on this. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how many states pass these laws.
I'm sure they will all eventually.
Really?
Well, maybe not, I don't know, Tennessee.
According to the stuff we read this week, the state of New York didn't even have no-fault divorce until till like 2010 or something like that.
Some states take longer than others for things.
Wait, I want to find that now. Yeah, no, I'm right. 2010. I remembered that correctly. I have good recall.
Oh, boy. Well, one thing at a time.
Exactly. One thing at a time.
It's not going to happen overnight, folks.
No. All right. So I think we should all be happy that we have happy, well-adjusted, emotionally confident, physically robust cats that are in our own custody, that we're not fighting other people for custody of.
Yes.
And you know what? People should go play with those cats.
Go play with your cats.